Painting with Menoth John is presented in Super Legitivision. Super Legitivision, the future of podcasting. It's .com.
Hello, I'm
Menoth John.
and I'd like to welcome you. First of all, let me take just a moment to thank you for allowing me back into your homes. If this is your first time with us, let me extend a personal invitation for you to drag out your
miniatures
and paint along with us each week. Let's go over to the canvas here and let's get started. I believe, every day's a good day when you paint. I believe, it'll bring a lot of good thoughts to your heart. I believe, every day's a good day when you paint. I believe, it'll bring a lot of good thoughts to your heart. Let's build a happy little cloud. Let's build some happy little trees. There are no limits here. You start out by believing here. You can almost paint with anything. All you have to do is practice.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, brush heads of every race, creed, religion, and species. This is your Sunday night extravaganza. This is the Painting with Menoth John show. I'm Menoth John. You can tell because I'm gray and I'm wearing some variety of kanji on my shirt. It's a telltale sign. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, this is your Sunday night addiction. This is the Painting with Menoth John show, where we spend 90 minutes trying to break the stereotype that I can paint. Ladies and gentlemen, with me, of course, I have the co-host with the it's Mr. John Spencer. He's up here in the window. Say hello, John.
Hi.
That's him. He's wearing a classic of the show, the original gray Painting with Menoth John brush head logo shirt. Yes, that is it. You can't get those in stores, John.
No, you can't. They were limited.
They were limited edition, and there was like 42 of them or something like that. I remember back in the day that we thought that we had broken the damn Brinks vault when we sold those things.
Yes, we did.
Ladies and gentlemen, we fast forward to 2015, and God bless Patreon. Anyway, so, ladies and gentlemen, this is your Sunday Night Addiction, and as you all know, the first thing that we do on any Painting with Menoth John show is how we keep it super sweet and totally legit. We have a beverage update. I'm having a strawberry margarita with way the hell too much tequila in it, and no ice.
Wow.
And no ice.
Okay.
This goes underneath the category of shit I had in the fridge. So, there you go. What are you having tonight, John?
I actually mixed some Sprite with some Captain Morgan's Cannon Blast because that should be good. Haven't tried it before. We'll find out.
So you're having that, and let me see. We're having one report of no visual. Are we having visual on your end, John?
No, I got perfect visual.
Okay,
Make
then
sure you're holding up your cup. It's kind of orangey-ish, yeah.
Okay. Well, you know, it was the minister of good times or secretary of good times, depending upon how I decide to say it, who was complaining, and we want to make sure that he's got good times.
He's good now.
So, on behalf of John and John, to all of you brushheads out there joining us tonight, hey, Ron.
Ron.
You know what, John? This is a very special evening. It's unfortunate, you know, it's one of those shows where I get to a Sunday, it's been a long, hard week, I've been traveling, no goddamn idea what to do with the show.
True enough, but luckily the brushheads they bailed us out.
Coming through like a wrecking ball. I'm doing a little Miley Cyrus reference there.
Let's not.
Should I get naked and swing around on a wrecking ball behind us here? Do you think that'd be great?
I think that should be a Patreon exclusive video.
Yeah, 47-year-old white guy with gray hair swinging on a wrecking ball. That'll break the internet. That'd be right there with Kim Kardashian's ass.
Oh God.
There we go. We have some recognition to give out here, John.
Here.
I want to recognize 3 very special brush heads who upped their pledge this week. We had a couple folks last week who joined the Crony Inner Circle, which gets you that swank bottle opener, and I'm going to put it right up here in front of my face again. There it is, the Crony Inner Circle bottle opener. One slight difference, John, between what I ordered and what's shown on the screen. I got a light gray color.
Oh.
I wanted to make it look a little bit more like the T-shirt that you're wearing tonight.
Excellent.
So if you would like to own something that looks like the front of John's shirt, you can have a Crony Inner Circle bottle opener by joining the $5 an episode pledge. Remember, folks, we only do 4 episodes that we charge for. No matter what we do, you're only going to be paying for 4. Everything else is free and exclusive to the patrons. And also, the stickers are in order. They're going to be made up here right quick. Tadgo in the chat room is going to be making those up for us. So we're kind of keeping it in the family there. And as soon as I get bottle openers, I'll start sending them out. So there you go. And let's see here. Let's see. I prefer the song that. Okay, there's a conversation going on in the chat room that caught my eye. What is this song by that named?
By Tokyo Ska Paradise Orchestra?
Yes.
It's actually pretty much instrumental with only a little bit of maybe scatting in it as the only vocals, and it's downright legit.
Is it super sweet?
It is also super sweet.
Well, that's
Granted,
amazing.
To be fair, I'm a huge ska fan, so
I love some
understand
Fishbone.
where I'm coming from.
I love some Fishbone. Don't get me wrong.
I'm more third wave ska, Real Big Fish.
I'm
Manifesto.
I'm feeling a little old, but it turns out I am. Hey, Ron. So
It's good.
I gave myself a bit of a challenge here this afternoon, John. I wanted to find a new background for my computer, and I wanted it to be something from the anime Arpeggio of Blue Steel. Turns out I can't put anything from that show on my screen and not feel like a dirty old man.
That is fair, but honestly, anime makes people think that most of the time.
Wait a second. Is this the real J.D. Whitey who is in the chat room? Is this indeed the fella that I wanted to join my family on episode 18 of Lost Hemisphere Radio?
Yeah, it sounds like it.
Yep, he says, I can't believe you still do that, John. Yes, as a matter of fact, I do. I am a creature, ladies and gentlemen, in the chat room, Mr. J.D. Whitey. He is, I think he actually has a job now, and that's good, because he should be paying taxes in Canada, because they have a healthcare system there, I hear. And so the offer's still open, JD, if you want to join my family. You know, it's a little more stable now, and it's a little less creepy now that you're older. So
that's not less creepy.
Yeah, it's still it's a little creepy. It's a little creepy. Anyway, by the way, we do take Canadian money, JD Whitey. If you want to be a patron, come on over here to patreon.com/menoffjohn. Right there, pointing straight down at it.
That's the segue.
Mm-hmm.
Bam.
Boom. We're good at this shit. We got the marketings.
Absolutely.
Well, we took that. Thanks to JD Whitey, we completely took a left turn on tonight's podcast. So,
yep.
Anyway, so tonight we don't have a lot of stuff to talk about. We didn't have like nobody released a book that we haven't talked about, and there's we don't have a guest. We're gonna have a guest next week.
You haven't released another errata yet, so
I'm saving it. It's as you get to my age, you need some time to reload, and so that's what I'm doing. I'm reloading, and so we'll get another errata out there when I feel like we need it, and so we're going to definitely do that. And but tonight we reached out to the Brushheads. We've got a lot of questions to ask. But before we get to the questions, there's a couple of things we should talk about. I took a trip this week, John.
Oh, snap.
I went to the fabulous Reno Tahoe Meta and met up with the great bunch of guys that play up there at Comic Kingdom and played a game at. I've got two things I want to talk about. I'm kind of all over the place. It's one of those kind of nights. And a couple things I want to talk about. The first I want to talk about is sportsmanship.
It's important. It
is very important. So the first thing we want to talk a little bit. I'm J.D. Whitey sellout. Yeah, right. Like nobody knew that going into this. So the first thing I want to talk about is sportsmanship. Now, one of the things. Let me give you an example of something not to say at the end of a game that you've lost. I'm going to give an example. This is something not to say. The game was over at the end of the second turn. I was just letting you play with your toys. Don't say that. That is very condescending. And basically it made a 47-year-old guy feel like he was 12. And
That's no bueno.
No, no.
We actually had one that I was witness to from a local guy who played his first full tournament. He didn't drop. Amazing.
Yay.
And he said to El Marshall, as El Marshall's dice went straight to hell, he's like, "Yay! Bad luck makes up for poor play." And
Whoa.
I really thought Marshall was going to come across the table and throttle him.
Did
And
he
I'd
not
have
see
high-fived
El
him
Marshall?
and everything?
Did he not witness El Marshall as a person? That's a
No, he's a good kid. I mean, you don't hate the guy, but he wasn't thinking it through. Yeah, Dowdark has one. The only reason you won because your dice were hot.
yeah.
That's things you don't say.
Well,
If you're going to say something like that, going like, if you're going to be self-defacing or something, you go like, "Man, your dice going bad are really helping the fact that I fucked up horribly. You're giving me a chance, dude."
Yeah.
That's a nicer way to say it.
The other thing is that I worry about anybody that think that dice were hot because that seems a little bit odd and strange, a little creepy,
Plus,
if you will.
I also find that the average person doesn't understand hot dice versus what I like to call dice helping you win.
Oh
There are
God.
games where your low rolls fall where you need low rolls or you don't care, and your high rolls fall when you need them.
Yep.
That's your dice helping you win. If you look at the game, you probably rolled in the realm of average.
Yeah. Boy, there's some great ones happening in the chat room right now. Sassy
Yeah.
Greyjoy. I don't mind letting a girl win. Oh my God.
Jesus Christ.
Oh my God. I would kick the guy right in the dick. Then we've got JD Whitey. I lost because this matchup is impossible. No, it's because you suck. It's mostly because you suck. Oh man, there's some really.
And words of wisdom from Dowdark's mom.
Yeah.
If you don't have anything nice to say, shut your mouth.
That's right. She's a salty lass. That one. Saucy, you might say. I'm gonna
Yes.
turn off that lamp because it's just making me frickin' warm, and I'm not painting anything yet. I'm gonna paint tonight. I swear to God. Anyway,
So part two, after us derailing on sportsmanship.
yes. So sportsmanship, have some. The second one is Quade Reed, who is the press ganger in Reno, held a spell draft, and this is the first time I'd ever done a spell draft. 35 points. It was really fun. Turns out that Jarl, anybody, I don't give a shit who it is, anybody that has Eye of Menoth and Signs of Importance, pretty good. Turns out you can do both.
Signs important. It's a thing.
Pretty good, especially when it's +1 to start off. And turned my trolls into unstoppable killing machines, except for when I march. It turns out that Crick's Bonejacks with the little arc nodey thingies are speed 7.
They are.
And the Witch Coven has 9 focus. And if they get Spirit Fang for 1 focus, they can cast
only,
it a long...
Only once one focus. Every other time it costs 2.
Once per witch.
Oh, it is once per witch. That's
Yeah.
kind of unfortunate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, kind of bought that one right in the face. And much like Pornhub, I took that one to the face. And, hi! So there you go. I will be... so that I ended up taking second place.
Still respectable.
Yep. We dojoed a little list with Rich Brotman from Beer Machine. The podcast you all should be listening to. If you're not listening to this show, listen to Beer Machine because they're great at what they do, and they're just like us with better beer.
We don't drink a lot of beer. We drink a lot more mixed drinks.
Yeah, we're kind of your distilled spirits version of Beer Machine, you know?
Absolutely. I don't have the fine like for a wide variety of beers, so
Well, you know,
I
it's
go with the mixed drinks.
everybody brings a little something special to the party, and this is what we bring. But they we dojoed a little list with Jarl because bringing a Fury 6 caster to a spell draft means you've got big giant ones, and
The last one I brought, Kyle won.
yeah, and it was super fun. I mean, I still had access to my feet. I still had access to Black Penny, and I still had access to Swift Hunter, and those are all
So I had
good.
Pack Hunter, so I hear Matt 7 Arguses with Signs of Importance. They're actually a thing too.
Yes, they are. So
It was super cool.
It was super fun. I had a great time, and Quade is one of my favorite press gangers in the whole wide world, and he's a great artist. So we'll be seeing some more stuff from Quade on the show. He's working on a commission piece. As you all know, I am working on. Hey, there you go, John. You've got a new candidate for the band Hammer.
Absolutely.
So as you know, the basement down here at Casa John is being remade, and I'm decorating it with pieces of art from my friends. And Quade Reed is going to be working on a family portrait of Belinda Librarian, myself, and my 2 boys, but he does cartoon characters out of them. And they've got this really slick, like semi-anime, semi-not-anime look to him.
Mm-hmm.
Very talented guy. So
Sweet.
as soon as I get it done, I'm going to share it with everybody. And I think that you will all be very impressed with his work. If you want to find his stuff right now, go onto the Facebooks and look up Quade Reed. I'll put a link in the show notes or something. I'll put it on the Facebooks. I'll use Technologies. John, that should
Technologies. They are our friends.
They are. Boy, did we sound like a couple of kids from the slow bus on that one.
Yeah.
Technology,
a little bit.
that's our friend. Our friend. I will pet him and touch him and sleep him. Yeah.
Call him George.
Call him George. So it's super. No, I will not be wearing a glitter boy suit because I know what that is.
Oh, it means something else to me entirely.
It's from Rifts.
Okay.
Yeah,
Means
it's
the same thing to me.
It's a
Then.
mecha thing. So anyway,
I'm there.
so I took second. Everyone was super cool. Let's see. I completely violated Aurora and proceeded to. Let's see. What was the other one I played against? The poor kid playing Aurora had never seen. No, wait. What was it? Was that it? He was playing Mercenaries. He was playing Durgan. Not Gorton with an Earthbreaker. He had never seen an army move up the table quite so fast. And my Fen Blades were like way up, and he never got anybody in the zone, and I just won on scenario. And that happens.
That's a common Jarl thing, yeah.
So quickened mini feeded Fen Blades go a long way.
They do. They come from downtown.
Anyway, so there you go. So that's my experience. Did you have any, John? Did you have any games this week?
No, I didn't. I did run a tournament. Crix won, unfortunately, but it was our local. I would call him the best player. Since last game was him versus El Marshall, and they were on the top of our leaderboard at Drop Zone, we made it a challenge. So Hannemeyer gets to end as reigning champion.
Yeah. Poor Drop Zone.
I should say, yeah. We mentioned on the podcast yet. I'll mention it now. Unfortunately, my one of my local game stores, Drop Zone Games, one where I sort of made my home, has closed its doors. They're going to do some online presence and try and find a new spot. Things just didn't go well. Details, no one needs to know them.
No.
Business is not an easy thing.
No, and game store business is especially difficult. And Drop Zone, while an amazing space, was in kind of almost felt like an industrial park.
It is an industrial park, but it had sort of site memory from the old GW Battle Bunker. But let's just say, if you ever start a business, don't go too far too fast. That's my best advice to start and go. And this shot is for Drop Zone.
I'm lifting it for Drop Zone 2, Ron. I did a whole shot. That's going to be a bad idea.
I always do a whole shot.
I'm going to be looped by the end of this show.
Enough bad news. Back to good stuff.
But there was a lot of positivity that came out of the Drop Zone, too. I mean,
we've got a great community. We're going to keep in touch. We're going to run over to the local... there's another store on the other side of town, Games and Stuff. It is actually an amazing store.
Mm-hmm.
But as a store first, it doesn't have the same community feel, which is what we want, you know?
Yep.
So we're going to try and help. Anything I built there, I can build at another store. We'll get it working.
Hell yeah.
We'll make those guys shape up.
We have a never say die attitude here on the Painting with Menoth John show.
That's right.
And God, you know what? We're less than a month away from War Machine Weekend, buddy.
I know. We've been talking about it nonstop. Getting ready for it. I've been practicing my lists pretty much never.
So, I've been that's all I play now are my 2 lists.
I haven't even got my 2 lists worked out. I mean, I told you in the preamble that I'm dropping Chromac because he's too similar to Grail, and I have promised to play Grail, damn it.
Yep.
That's what I'm playing. And I actually like the way the list works. I wasn't necessarily feeling the Chromac one. I feel like there's something missing in it. So I'm like, get rid of that list, get an Armor Cracker in. It's gonna be Kaya 2. Still working on the build. I haven't put a lot of time into it. I made it on the crapper at work.
Yeah, you got to
But,
take a shit sometime.
Hey, Kaya 2 is actually not hard to make a solid list for. Throw beasts in, add some more beasts. Then I need to kill infantry, so I added Maximus because Maximus.
He's stupid for what he does. I mean, for what he brings to the party, the fact that he's not as easy to remove off the table as you'd think he would be.
Not all the time, though. Actually, I had one of the locals, Jason Newman. He actually 4 Widowmakers, not able to aim, killed Maximus on a hill
Shut up! Well,
in one turn.
Well, that'll
Just
that'll
bang,
happen.
bang, bang, dead. I'm like, all right, I guess I'm dead.
I played Turbo Douche, the Signar guy, the new
Acosta,
guy. Acosta. I just shot him. It turns out he just dies.
He can, but he's also really good.
Oh, he's fantastic. I just shot him though. I just wanted to point that out.
I put primed on him. I hear having Mat 11 POW 15 Weapon Master. That's a thing.
Yeah, it's called Paladin. So it's better than a Paladin actually. So there you go. So we have we've talked about some shit so far. This is a show. We talked about we need to talk a little bit about. Wait, who's saying goodnight?
JD Whitey's going night night.
Oh my God, he's still 13. He's in the Eastern time zone for fuck's sakes. Come on, JD, stick it out. It's like 8:30 there. Well, you got to go to bed. Anyway, so let's talk a little bit about the upcoming series of Painting with Menoth John movie club nights. John?
Absolutely. So, as I promised several episodes ago, I promised I was going to watch and review all the Star Wars movies. Instead, we're going to watch the Star Wars movies and review them in an order that's called on the internet the Machete order. I don't know why someone made it up. You can look on it online. I'm not going to go into a bunch of details off someone else's website. If you're interested, look it up. But basically, the order ends up being you watch A New Hope, then you watch Empire Strikes Back, then you watch Attack of the Clones, then Revenge of the Sith, then Return of the Jedi. And I know you're thinking, well, there are 6 movies, John. The last one, you don't watch it. It is not necessary.
Nope, everything, and the website goes into great gory detail about the fact that it's completely unnecessary, and I agree with it. It is everything that movie adds is never mentioned again or is explained better in the other movies.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And in a series like this, that one's the worst movie of the series, and it's not close.
Not even remotely.
Yeah, so there's no need for that. Just pass it along and go. So our schedule, because we want to get them going, and we need to work War Machine Weekend in there, and need to be done in time for The Force Awakens. So the way I've worked it out is by the 1st of November, we will be reviewing A New Hope. Then the next weekend, which is the 8th, we'll be reviewing The Empire Strikes Back. At War Machine Weekend, we've talked about maybe doing a live review of The Phantom Menace. That'll be time related because we want to do the Turkish Star Wars 2. We'll see what happens. Regardless.
Turns out we are the last show in that room that night. So we can go as long as we fucking please.
Yeah. And after the day, who knows? Well, like I said, we've got the option there. We'll see how it pans out. Then we come back on the 22nd for Attack of the Clones. Then the 29th for Revenge of the Sith. And then December 6th. Good Lord, it's almost December now, guys. Return of the Jedi. And then a week off to talk about whatever. If we want to talk about... I mean, heck, maybe we'll do something as a palate cleanser in between. Or we can talk about the Clone Wars or whatever else we want to. And then on the 20th, remember, The Force Awakens comes out. And you should all see it opening weekend. We're going to talk about it. And we might spoil it because we're both going to be kind of geeky about it. I'm pretty certain.
So I'm a little bit curious as to how do you think that movie theaters are going to handle the tickets for that movie? Are they going to go on pre-sale? Like, I wonder when they're going to go on pre-sale.
I saw something today. Pre-sale's like in a week.
Okay.
I'm not going to pre-sale my stuff. I've got too many movie theaters nearby, and honestly, I think my entire office is leaving early on the Friday it comes out to go see it together, or at least the majority of the office. You never think so many construction guys would be interested in that, but me, my boss's boss, the yard manager, who's kind of my boss, all really, really waiting for that movie. So we might just make it an early day and go off and see it.
You know,
And
it's
if not, I mean, I can get off work on that Friday at like 2:30, and I'll just roll out and see it then.
you know, it's really an amazing thing. You know, we talk a little bit about how geek culture has really expanded in the last 5 years, let's say, and you're talking about a construction company, which is not something you would necessarily associate with a geek type culture, and they're talking about taking off for it too. This is going to be a huge movie.
Yeah, it's more because the bosses are involved, not as many guys who are actually work out in the yard and deal with the actual equipment. It's the yard manager, the logistics manager, and the master of logistics of all time,
The
or
wizard,
whatever Thomas's title is. I don't know.
the wizard of logistics.
Yes.
So,
Uh,
so
I call
John,
him the Fuhrer of logistics since he's German. I'm not sure if that goes over well.
so ladies and gentlemen, you are experiencing right now one of the new innovations in Painting with Menoth John. We call it the Spencer Cam. And the Spencer Cam, it brings John to the forefront of the podcast. For too long, this has been the tyranny of Menoth John. And we are looking forward to bring forth a real on-air talent, if you will. And we're putting the painting in the upper box for right now. But, you know, he has a lot to say. So we're bringing him forward. This is a big deal. And I hope that everyone that's coming to War Machine Weekend will be part of the Painting with Menoth John live broadcast on Friday of War Machine Weekend. If there is a God and an internet connection, I'm going to stream this motherfucker. If there is not if there's not a God or an internet connection, then we're fucked and we're going to have to record it. But we're going to try. And so, you know, stay tuned. We'll let you know. The best way to find out what's going on is to get on the Twitter and follow @MenothJohn. And we will be letting you guys know what all of the updates are related to PWMJ Live. We really want to turn this mother out. We want to make
Absolutely.
this the biggest, bestest, most bodacious Menoth John ever. And the way we're going to do it is we're going to kick out the jams, and we're going to see what we can do about hijacking some internets and see what we got. So we're going to be doing this from an Apple laptop, so the quality is going to be shit on toast, and it's literally going to be anybody's guess because it's going to be on OBS. We're going back to the old school because I'm not willing to pay for another XSplit license, and I'm not even sure that XSplit even frickin' runs on Mac. So we're gonna kick out the jams. We're gonna use old school technology. I'm gonna have a hamster in a wheel. It's gonna go real fast, and we're gonna see what we can do about jamming that hamster right up the old internet's tailpipe. So
There you go.
all right. So I'm gonna flip this back over to the painting cam.
Do that. Don't need to see my gray that much.
Oh, we love your gray.
I don't.
The focus couldn't be worse. We're going to try and fix that right now. We're going to go ahead and come over here. We're going to use. Okay, I've got the flux capacitor fully charged now, and we're going to. Is that even doing anything? That's not even doing a fucking thing. So let's see what this does. All right, so we're gonna. Oh, look at that brewer. He's coming into focus now. The Milwaukee Brewers never came into focus this year. That's a sporting reference, and.
Okay.
I like their manager though. I think Craig Counsell's got some game. You never know. Did the Packers win, by the way?
Actually, you know what's funny? I was actually just checking that.
All right, let's
Just
take a
bringing
look
it
here.
up here on the computer. Since you
I'm-
mentioned the sports ball.
Yeah. Oh shit! I can't. I'm not able to use my passwords right now because I'm not
Yeah.
really fully sober.
No worries. They ended up winning 27-20.
They made that one interesting.
Yep.
All right.
Like I said, more interesting in my team. You know, you don't expect to go, oh look, it's 13-13, and then you go watch a movie and come back and it's 34-13. And you're like, well, that was a game. It's not anymore.
So we are going to be taking a whole bunch of questions tonight, and I wish I could remember what colors I actually used for this this army that I've got.
Notepad. Bring a notepad. I have one next to my painting table, which you can kind
Yeah.
of see in the background, because I have to take notes. Because sometimes I'll go weeks without painting and then come back and marathon a bit, and I'll be like, "What the hell did I do here?"
I'm
Oh,
pretty
I'll check my
sure.
notes.
I'm pretty sure if this is not the right brown, that I will turn it into the right brown through a series of washes and other altering type things. But we are going to dedicate this episode to you, the brush heads. We are going to be flippity blooping our ass off. So in that ways and means, if you will, please, John, flippity bloop.
All right. Well, Sassy Greyjoy sent this one last week, and it wasn't really appropriate for last week. So I saved it for first this week. And he wants to know, how do you deal with shaky hands when trying to paint?
So Sassy Greyjoy, first off, is a female, and so she had asked about that, and I thought it was a really good one. Now I'm going to demonstrate some stuff here on the show because I have shaky hands also, and the way that I deal with it is I anchor, and you'll notice that I've got my this hand right here is on the table. Now what I'm going to do is this pinky is totally important. So what I do is I hook that pinky somewhere where it's like it's convenient, and it's going to anchor that hand. This hand is anchored to the table, so I can get a very, and you'll notice even with this finger right here by my brush, it is anchored to that hand a little bit. So what I'm able to do then is I basically construct little pivot points for my brush, and that as a person who has a little bit of a shaky hand because I'm old and I drink a fuck ton of caffeine every day, it's really, really, really important for me to be able to pivot off of it. And a lot of times, what I'm doing here is I'm drawing just a back and forth straight line, and that's how I get a good paint sort of straight line without really messing it up. So for me, the most important thing, Sassy, is a pivot point. And you bring it down, you lock it in with a finger, and then you drag it, you bring it across, and that really, really, really goes a long way towards making a nice line. John, how do you do with your hands? Do you suffer from the same malady?
Drinking a shit ton of caffeine every day? Yes.
Yes. And when you
So-
do paint,
Actually, what I do is I put my elbows on. I'm not sure we get good in camera, but yeah, I put my elbows on the table because most of my tables are about that height, and I lock my wrists. So I'm painting like this.
okay,
My paintbrush in my right hand, model in this other left hand, and I'm painting like this, so that I'm locked. So if I shake, they're shaking together, and usually it doesn't even shake because there's so much support because you got elbows on the table, and your wrists together. And it's a lot like your pivot point. Just means I have to do a lot more turn of the model with my right hand. But now that I've been using a sort of spool to put some of my models on when they're important, it helps a lot too.
you know, and I wasn't even aware of it until you mentioned it, John. But I'm actually doing something very similar with my elbows. I've got that locked. I've got it locked into my armrest. And so basically, I think, Sassy, the thing to take away from this is that it's about control. You want to find ways to anchor various parts of your body in order to provide you that stable base to make up for the fact that when your hands are free, that they aren't necessarily super stable. So
I'm sort of illustrating now on camera since I realized the
Oh,
whole
yeah.
thing wasn't on camera, like this. So I would do paint like such.
hang on, I'm bringing you up on the Spencer cam. There you go.
Oh, that's your cam. So it'd be something like this with the shot glass being the model and the bomb pen being the paintbrush. And you do something like that, turn the model. I do have to free up a little bit to change the way the model's being held sometimes, but it will definitely help a lot.
I think that demonstration you just gave there was not only super sweet, but very totally legit.
It was a little harder because my elbows weren't locked, but it's the basic idea. The wrists will actually be good enough. I've seen guys who can do that so they can paint. We had a iron painter, which is painting the whole army overnight. And there was one separate thing, which was paint a model overnight. And they'd add little things like you have to paint part of it outside. So some guys have to go outside under the street lights and, lock in your wrists. You can actually paint pretty well like that wherever you are.
Wow, that's
Gives
really
you
interesting.
A good amount of support.
That's freaking hardcore.
Yeah, it was. I didn't do that. I'm not crazy.
Nice. So these are my brewers, and this is one of my one of the big guys here, and I'm just trying to figure out here as I go along, how the hell did I paint these guys?
I know that feeling.
Anyway, so there you go. There you go, Sassy. There's your answer to last week's question. Thanks for hanging in there. Flippity bloop.
Second question is from Nathan Scott. He asks, meow?
I would highly. I've been thinking about this question all day, to be honest with you, John. I noticed it, and it really is. It's an existential question. If one meows, does one woof, or does one simply roll with it and go meow back? And I think that I have to take a Reno 911 approach to this particular question. And with a meow, I respond woof woof. John, do you have any perspective on this?
I don't know what you're talking about, meow.
Oh, snap. I see what you did there. That was very sneaky. And I highly support that. So there you have it. Woof woof and meow. Flippity bloop.
All right, now next one is our next serious question from Ryan Goes. He wants us to talk about brush care briefly.
This is a very important question because, it's very easy to spend a hell of a lot of money on brushes. And if you don't take care of them, it's very easy to spend a lot of money on brushes foolishly. So let's talk a little bit about brush care. Lonely Monk, who we've had on the show here, he and I chatted a little bit about this the other day when we discussed some of the Games and Gears brushes that are a sponsor here on the show. And I need to add KR Multicase to our sponsors thing here on the Paint Cam. But one of the things that he mentioned was the fact that he does something I don't do, and maybe it's a good practice that I need to adopt. And always willing to learn more stuff here. I'm Painting with Mouth John. This is brush cleaner and preserver. This is the Masters brush cleaner and preserver. This is sort of the standard. If there is a Kleenex in the painting industry, this is it. And it's a little tub of soap, and what's in here is literally soap, and you put a little drop of water in here. So first off, Ryan, if you don't have the Masters preserver and brush cleaner, get some. It's available at dickblick.com. It's probably available at your local Michael's or Hobby Lobby.
Yep.
But don't
Even
go.
I've got some, and I'm definitely a casual painter.
Yep. This is something that literally everyone who's hearing my voice should own. It's wonderful. Now, so here's where Lonely Monk and I have parted ways, but I'm beginning to come around. I think he's got the right idea. He actually does and uses this after every painting session, where he takes his paint brushes, and what they do is you put a little bit of water, and I'm going to demonstrate by cleaning a brush right now. Let me find a brush to clean. I'll do this one because it's like visually interesting. So what I'll do is I don't know if you can't really see it. I'm going to turn up my camera here a little bit. Okay, so you see here in the metal beard glass, it's very important to have a Lego Movie cup if you're going to be cleaning your brushes. And so what I do is this is relatively fresh water. You want to use clean water, okay, guys? So take and put a little bit of water in there. It's hard to see here with the blinding light of the painting cam, and I'm going to try and get it up here so you can actually see it. But there's a little bit of water in there, and then what I do is, with my brush full of water out of the metal beard cup, I take and I just swirl it around. Okay? And what I'm trying to do here is I'm trying to be gentle, but with a little bit of force. So see what I'm doing here? I'm foaming it up, and you'll see it eventually like a bar of soap that you might use on your body. And I hope you're using soap on your body, by the way. Because if I see you in a convention and you haven't used soap on your body, that's going to be a problem. Because you're going to be
paddling.
You're going to be stinky. And we don't like stinky. And so what you want to do is you want to really swirl it around there. And the key places to get are up here where the metal meets the brush. That's called the ferrule. And if you'll tend to get a lot of paint up in there. And you want to swirl it around, and you want to really massage those hairs, because if you're using a good brush, it's made of a natural hair, like a sable hair, and you want to really condition it, and that's what this soap is doing. So then you take this out here and you go ahead and you wash it out. And then there's a little bit of controversy as to what you do next. So I'm going to wash it out, and then what I do is, and I want you to see this, is I turn it so that it forms a point.
Mhm.
And so that it forms that natural point. That this is a Winsor Newton Series 7 brush that I'm demonstrating on. But you want that natural point on there. What some people will do is they will take their brush soap and they will coat it in the brush soap and conditioner, and they will form that natural point with the conditioner still in it. And the thought is that the brush and the conditioner that's left in the brush will treat the brush hairs and preserve them. And then the first time you're going to sit down for painting, you take that out and you rinse it real good, and then you go ahead and you bring it back into a point. And I do that through turning it while I bring it forward, and then I will also use my fingers a little bit to straighten out the tip. Now you'll notice this right now has an amazing tip on it, and that's really, really, really important. That's why on a good sable brush you can use a 1 or a 2 and still do magnificent detail with it. That's the difference between a good brush and a not so good brush.
Yeah.
The other thing I would add to the party here is that, and I just managed to. That was really interesting. What I just did. This is something that Games and Gears sells, and it's a brush holder. And without being a complete and total shill for one of my sponsors, I think this thing is completely legit and super sweet. And what it does is you'll notice that it keeps the brush tip up off of the ground and allows it to dry naturally. These hairs are going to have a capillary effect, and they're going to draw the moisture out of the ferrule. When a brush goes horribly wrong, it's because moisture has gotten up into the ferrule and it's dissolved the glue that holds the hairs into the brush. So having it on some type of a horizontal type of a deal like this is really, really, really good for the brush. So I like this. You know, of all the things that Games and Gears sells, this is among my favorite. It really is. I think this is, and what's nice about it too is that you'll notice it's holding a wide variety of brushes in a vertical position. That means I can put this literally almost anywhere on my painting table, and I have access to any of my brushes. It's a little disorganized right now. I like to run it smallest to largest across it, but it's a big deal. The other thing that I would say is that, Ryan, make sure you don't use a good brush for dry brushing. You want to have a medium quality. Don't buy shit brushes. Buy a medium quality brush. This is my Masters Hybrid brush from Games and Gears, and I'm going to tell you right now that this is the best dry brush I have ever used. And the reason I like it is that this one's about ready to be replaced. There's not a lot left to this bad boy. It started out life as a rounded square edge brush. This is really, really critical. The rounded edge square brushes are super good at getting dry brush into hard to get to places. So this is a Winsor Newton Galleria series number 2. It's a square brush. I don't like this one as much, and I'll tell you why. This one has this bristle is very stiff. You want to have a slightly softer. This one here, much softer, much easier to deal with. And so that's why I recommend the Games and Gears Masters Hybrid brush with the square tip for your dry brush needs. It's not an expensive brush, but it's an excellent brush. And you'll be able to control your dry brushing better than you ever thought possible. So the taking care of your brush is a matter of brush soap. And I think Lonely Monk is onto the right thing here. I think that if you're going to have a set down with a long session of painting, let's say you're going to paint for Jesus Christ, there goes all my brushes. Threw them on the fucking ground. If you're going to have a long session of painting, I highly recommend that you do the cleaning every brush session. But if you're, it's harder for me to recommend that if you're doing like, well, I got 15 minutes. I'm going to do some painting. You know, it's probably do that. Plus, try not to get the paint all the way up to the ferrule.
I was going to go into the well-duh basics, but I've realized some people haven't heard those.
Yeah, John, please expand.
So no paint up on the ferrule. That's bad. It's going to cause your brush to fray and not keep a point because the paint's going to dry there and just make it fray. Other things are, like Sassy said, is storing your paintbrush up bad. Not necessarily, depends on how dry you get it, but this would be better. Also, don't put your paintbrushes leave your paintbrushes in the water bottle.
Oh, no,
I see
never.
so many people do that. And I'm
Never.
like, what are you doing?
Never.
That should be like lesson 1. But I realize some people just learn by watching people paint and they don't necessarily think. They haven't gotten any instruction. Don't do that. That is definitely no bueno.
Yep.
On the dry brushing route, Tadgo says he hates to say that GW dry brush is really good. I actually agree with him.
I don't doubt that in the least.
They're a good mix of not terribly expensive necessarily and pretty good quality.
I have to pimp the sponsor on this one.
No, it's not. Theirs is probably better. I haven't tried it. I will eventually try it and see how it rates.
And here's
I'm actually out of GW dry brushes after years and years because here every time they change the packaging, they're like, "Well, we got to get rid of these. Can't sell old packaging." And I'm like, "I don't know. Don't take this home."
Yep. So, but honestly, folks, Games and Gears is our sponsor and stuff like that. But I'm going to give you the straight up truth. Winsor Newton Series 7s are as good as it gets. It is remarkable how good of a brush they are. Now, my current loadout here is I have a 0, I have a 000, and I have my go-to brush 9 times out of 10 is this little tiny number 1 down here. I'm not as good a painter as Meg Maples and some of the other folks that you'll see come on here. We'll talk about painting with a 2 and a 3 for the high detail, but a 1 is really a strong brush.
I saw one of the locals, John Connor, and no, he's not running from the Terminator. He actually painted he's for Premium's Workshop. He actually painted an entire army with the GW starter brush, and it was like the absolute I would love to have that army on the table.
Yeah.
Win painting competitions, maybe an army competition, not any individual model, but it looked amazing, and the whole thing with a GW starter brush. If you can keep a steady hand, and you can control your brush well, as long as it comes to a point, the size matters a little bit less until you get to the absolute tiniest details.
I want to point out some things to the brush heads. Look at this plethora of tips down here to the side. Okay, you've got this is the Winsor Newton up here. This is a badly abused, ready for retirement 000, but it's still got it still has a point. It's just kind of a curvy point. Then we come on down here. This is a good wide. If you're doing a big broad area, as is this one. This is the one that I can't. They never mass produced. This is the hybrid brush. It's got a nice tip on it. I think they're talking about a new series of Games and Gear brushes, and I hope that it's coming along in this one. And then there's Old Reliable. There's your number 1 Winsor Newton, and it has been with me for probably a couple years. So I strongly suggest for good brush care, you get the brush cleaner and preserver, and then you get a nice rack like this. I recommend the Games and Gears rack. They're a sponsor of the show. Tell them Menoth John sent you. It's a great product, and it keeps those bristles out in the air so that they can wick that moisture away from the ferrule, and that'll make the fibers last longer. And that's really what you're after.
And the final word on it is actually use the right brush for the right job.
Yep.
If you're starting to use the wrong brush for the wrong job, you're going to cause extra wear and tear on it because it's not meant to do that.
Yeah. Ryan goes, I know you're there in the chat room. Go
I
to
hope you're taking notes.
get Winsor Newton Series 7s. You will never look back. They will last longer. They will provide you more satisfaction for painting. Get a wet palette so that you're diluting your paints out, and I promise you'll be amazed. Almost overnight, your painting will double in quality. It's just
Or at
amazing.
the very least, if you don't have a wet palette, get a palette. I see a lot of people paint out of the pot. Don't paint out of the pot.
No.
That's an easy way to cause paint to go into the ferrule. That you have your shitty brush for taking it out and putting it on the palette or on the wet palette, and then you don't care about that one. It's all good. But this will help you get less paint in the brush, so you'll have less staying there. Keep it cleaner. Bob's your uncle.
What he said. Flippity bloop.
All right. Whew. Next one's from today, from Dark Jester 95. He says, "Why do you guys hate Legion so much?"
This is an important
disclosure.
question.
Yeah, he said he just switched to Legion from Scorn, and he loves it so much more. It's actually gonna be related to you switching from Legion from Scorn to Legion, and why you love it so much more.
Yeah, and I will relay this in a story, John. Why I
stories.
play trolls. We don't. I want to be very clear up front. Painting with Menoth, John hates nobody, and we poke fun. We have maybe perhaps a little too much fun at some, but because it's a kind of a running joke. And if you haven't maybe watched the show quite as long as some others, it's easy to interpret some of the jokes that we have that we hate a particular faction. Fact of the matter is that Legion is just as good and just as wonderful a faction as anybody else. It's kind of a running joke for us here that Legion is broken, Legion is this, Legion is that. Long story short, I don't hate Legion. There's a lot of shit I'm jealous about Legion. I mean, I wish I could. I wish I had eyeless sight. I wish I had the ability to shoot from long range reliably. But there's a lot of stuff you give up as a direct result of having all that coolness. You get beasts that are literally can be very challenging in melee. They can be very challenging in other aspects of the game. And it turns out that a 5-point beast called a Pirate Troll shuts down a good chunk of your army from range. And that's no bueno if you're Legion. This is, and the reason I play it, probably the best across faction to faction balanced game as anyone could hope to imagine. I'm not saying it's perfect, but it is certainly, the attempt is made to make this as balanced a game as humanly possible. And I don't hate Legion. I find them challenging. And it's easy to misinterpret someone's jealousy, like I have, of all the cool shit they can pull off literally because they're Legion, as being hate. And I don't hate them. John, what are your thoughts?
My thoughts is the same thing goes for Crix. It's not that we hate them, it's that I don't want to say they're an easy button, but the learning curve is different for Legion and Crix than it is for just about every other faction. It literally starts off, you go really high real quick, but then it plateaus and it's a lot harder to get to that next level. So it seems broken or too good or whatever, because there's a lot of little rules you don't need to know. I guarantee you most Crix players don't have a flaming idea how the command check rules work, because they don't need to care about them.
Nope.
Much like most Legion players are like, Pathfinder, they just take it for granted. All their shit comes with Pathfinder. Stealth, they don't know what stealth works. They should ignore stealth. There's so many stuff they ignore, so it seems like too good, but they do kind of pay for it in little ways. There's stuff they don't get, there's stuff they'll never get. It is more of a joke,
Yeah.
And in newer players, it's less of a joke because it just seems good until they get to a point. There's a point where you'll surpass the Crix or Legion player in overall skill, or maybe the ease of play is helping them. And,
Yeah, I mean that's absolutely where we are. This is a podcast that has kind of prided itself over the years. Jesus, John, I'm getting drunk. That is prided itself over the years as being one that has been very accepting across the board. And you know, we like to joke and all that stuff because, frankly, I'm jealous as shit at Isla Sight, and some of the other stuff that, I mean, E Lilith is a handful, Vale is a handful, both versions.
Couple casters in both those factions that are really skewing, or in Crix's case is less more skewing, more that they are the complete package.
Yep.
They have an answer for everything in the game, and that's, you know, does it mean they're too good? Maybe not. Who knows? I mean, like John said, the balance in this game is really good from worst to highest. Like the only time you see the big skew is if you look at the absolute worst of anything and the absolute best of everything. And once you get past those couple outliers, which happen in every game ever in existence, the middle ground is so much more balanced.
Yeah, and this is a company that has looked hard at its outliers and has done something about it.
Yeah. The errata makes us realize it's not always going to be that way, and yeah, we may never see, you know, the Scar 1, you know, nerf down to what we would consider fair.
Yeah.
But you know, they'll do their best to do it without alienating anyone and pissing people off, and get it as close to perfectly balanced as they can. Because let's be honest, there's no way to get perfect balance. We are inherently flawed beings. We can't make anything perfect.
Oh, I don't know. Amon's got a perfect balance.
Oh my god.
All right, so there you go. Wow. I feel like I'm too drunk to paint.
Oh, come on. Just do basic coats.
I'm going to
Basic coats
try.
are great when you're drunk.
All right, I'm going to try. I've got to reach over here. God, what the hell color was that? I think it's rucksack tan. What? I got to look at my model here. That probably was.
Notepad.
Probably.
I'm buying you a notepad. That's what I'm doing.
I hate this. All right, so see, this is paint being shaken, folks. That's
It
some
sounds horrible.
That's some good fucking paint sound right there. And so what I'm going to do with this is I'm going to use my hybrid brush, the one that I talked about with the dry brush. I'm actually going to put some of that on the wet palette. That is my pants color for my brewers. Oh fuck! I dropped my paintbrush. Jesus. Yeah, this is not turning out well. I had way too much to drink.
Maybe you should have had a little less tequila.
Yes. So there you go. Flippity bloop.
All right. The next one's this is gonna be a tough one. We're trying to hit it too long because I'm not sure it's one we can easily answer. It's from Brett Painter, and it's based off the news today. He says how to deal when your favorite LGS closes. In our case, Brett, we just go to the other LGS that's pretty much just as close, and just do our best there.
The way I handled my situation, I had a very negative experience in Milwaukee. And the way that I handled it was that I decided to go to a different LGS. And I guess the suggestion I would have, Brett, is the same suggestion I would give anyone, is that you take and try to build a community in the new house. And I hope you're able to do that. I hope you're able to find some super sweet, totally legit people. And God, John, I'm embarrassed by what I left behind on this figure to paint. And try to do that is take that new LGS and turn it into all the good that you remember about the other LGS, and try to work towards eliminating anything that was negative about that. Mm-hmm. And just
remember to keep in touch on the internet. Like, you remember, John and I remember, well, maybe not John so much. I remember trying to play games before the internet was actually a thing.
Yeah.
It was tough. And when stuff, I've had a couple of gaming clubs have to move or shut down. It was hard to get games in. The internet's here. Get everyone's contact. Make a Facebook group for you guys, whatever. I mean, we've got one called the Drop Zone Dropouts, which is had before the store closed. Just keep going with that. Keep in touch. Just to be a little more proactive. And, if you don't see anyone being the guy stepping forward at the new store to build a community, try and be that guy.
Yep.
If there's someone being that guy, support that guy.
Yep.
Don't try and make it the same story. It's never going to be the same.
No.
You know what they say, you can't go back. It's absolutely effing true.
And that's what
It's
I'm
always going to be a little different.
and that's what I'm trying to do at Rockheads is, I'm trying. I have a very fledgling group of people, and what I'm doing is I'm trying to invite people from Milwaukee to come down, and I think that what I'm going to probably try to do is Belinda Librarian is a student at one of the local technical colleges, and I'm going to see what I can do if they've got some kind of an open house or something like that, and I'm going to try to pimp it a little bit. We've got a Facebook group. We're going to reach out to everybody we can and see if we can't build the community. Because playing the same 4 people over and over again, while these people are super awesome, is not super optimal for a long-term viability of a meta.
Yep. And be the
I
change you want to see.
I
It's
can't
a
paint.
great cliche, but those Greek cliches are great for a reason.
I seriously can't paint anymore. I
You
am
might want to put it down then.
I am beyond being able to do
You literally
this.
can't even.
I can't. This is ridiculous. I should not have drank this much. It was JD Whitey's fault. He came on the stream, and
Got flashbacks.
oh my god.
PTSD.
I mean, I'm not completely slurring my words at this point, but I'm pretty freaking close. And
I'm not gonna lie. I switched to cherry coke.
this looks like the most ridiculous Peter Pan ass looking motherfucker I have ever painted in my entire. This has got to sit down. No, this has got to go.
Sit down.
Back
Here's
away.
another painting tip for you guys goes. Sometimes, between not feeling it or being a little drunk or whatever, it's not working. Put it down.
By the way, Tad Go, that is Too Drunk to Fuck by the Dead Kennedys. I'm a huge Dead Kennedys guy. So there you go.
Enough.
From the album Frankenchrist. No. Too Drunk to Fuck? Is that from Frankenchrist? I can't remember. Oh, getting old. Anyway, so let's flippity bloop for the rest of the goddamn show. I'm sitting back. I'm drinking.
All right. So Kevin Bashford asked something related to what you were talking about. He says, should a player who plays someone they regularly beat dial back the skill level, or should the beatings continue until morale improves? So I'm going to tell you mine, and honestly,
go ahead.
is a weird thing. I am literally incapable of throwing a game. I cannot throw a game.
I don't know that
Because
I'm able to
look-
either.
It would look way too obvious that I was being a fucking retard and giving him the game. I might not play the best things to start with. I might play like a list that's not, the most teched out or most competitive, so to speak, stuff in it, but I can't. And honestly, I feel like if you play anything less than your best game against your opponent, you're probably doing them a disservice. And yeah, they may get disheartened, but that's what the post-game talk is for. You got to talk about it. You got to go, this is what you did wrong. I felt like you had a shot if you did this. One of the guys on Saturday actually was playing the Witch Coven theme list with all the Marshall Jacks on the Iron Lich Overseers. And he played against Abby too, which is a horrible mismatch. But I'm like, look, dude, if you'd actually managed to get a little further, pop your feet a little further up the table where it would have been, caught more stuff, you'd have had to chip in a chair in this game. It's constructive criticism after the game is really going to do it. You tell them, if you have to, tell them, like, look, we'll play a game, and I'm going to give you running commentary after the turn. Like, all right, you ended your turn. This is what you did wrong. I'll show you right now why and how I'm taking advantage of it.
Yeah.
Sometimes you got to. It seems condescending, but if they really want to get better, it may be the best way.
And,
Just
it's a matter of whether or not your opponent truly recognizes the fact that you are a superior player to them. And here's the situation I fought when I was in Carson and Reno last week, was that I didn't really know these guys, and I didn't really know what I was coming up against. I had a feeling when he suggested that standing within 1 inch of a linear obstacle gave me +2 defense instead of +4, that he may not have had as full a command of the rules as I had. And so, but I'll be very honest with you. I'm a grown-ass man, and the last thing I want to is be played down to. We talked about being a good sport. We talked about being condescending. And intentionally throwing a game is not why I came to the table. I came to the table to put your skills against my skills, and let's have fun. And maybe my skills are inferior to yours. That means I have something to learn from you.
Mm-hmm.
And, just be cool about it. And, maybe you lose, maybe you win. Who knows what happens? It's a dice game. But this is a complex enough dice game that generally the better, more skillful player will win most of the time. So I would suggest that, as John said, that you early on, you may want to say, would you like me to, at the end of the game, discuss some of the things that may have been done differently? Or is this something that you would like us to discuss as we go along? Because
Discuss it beforehand, because popping it on someone in the middle of the game is
yeah,
going to be disconcerting and might come off wrong.
right. And that tailors the discussion that's going to happen at the table to the person that you're playing with. And it's a difficult discussion. And it's very easy to be taken wrong. But
We're adults. We got to handle like adults. Sometimes you just got to tell them blunt, like, you say with all due respect, and it's funny, but sometimes you say like with all due respect, that was the stupidest move I've ever seen in my life. Maybe you don't phrase it exactly like that. But when you explain all the things they should have seen, they starting to see the different things.
Yeah.
And you just got to work with them. I mean, sometimes it's a long road.
Yeah.
And you have to be as supportive as you can in there. And you deal with different people different ways, You don't do the same thing to a newer player. Devil Squid has the best saying for that. He says, I'm not going to pull my punches, but I'm going to telegraph them.
Yep.
You can do that too. You can. I don't want to say treat him like a newer player, but if the skill levels are that different, sometimes you have to, because you want to help teach them. When you're taking on that mentor role, it's a lot of responsibility like that.
John, the thing that I tend to do a lot more times than often than not, it's pretty easy to gauge a newer player when you meet them. And one of the things I like to do, especially if I'm in an Iron Gauntlet, is one of the very first questions: how long have you been playing the game? And if I hear it's been less than a year, then what we're going to talk about is the first thing I'm going to ask the question is there anything on this side of the table you don't understand what it does? And then I will say, understand that this works with this, and this works with that. I'm not going to tell them how to beat me, but I'm going to tell them that there are synergies on the table that they may not be immediately aware of. Like, they're not going to... Now, get the fact. Like, if I'm playing Fire Mountain, okay? I've got quickened fire frogs, and I'm going first, okay? I have frogs at advanced deploy that are going to run 16 inches. You are going to have to deal with this, okay?
Yep.
So think about this. When you're deploying, when you're... all this stuff. I want us to have an awesome game. I want you to feel like you and I are just having the best game ever. You need to understand this is a situation you're going to face. Deploy as such.
And also set goals for yourself that might not be, if you're super assassination good, set goals for yourself. They're like, I'm going to win this game on scenario.
Right. Play your
like,
list off.
Don't take that 45% assassination early in the game, because he's going to learn less from that. Or if you do, go like, I'm going to show you this. We're going to mark proxy bases, and I'm going to go back and do what I would have done otherwise. If he's into, or just do it and then re-rack if you're into that. You really gotta figure out how to play it, honestly.
Now, this is a point of sportsmanship. I know the Brushheads are the most awesome people ever, but if you're a dickhead, you are going to get your shit pushed in, and you're not going to be told why, and you're going to have a bad fucking time. So don't be a dickhead, and play the game decent, be an adult, and
put your ego on the sideline.
And shake that dude's hand, because he taught
absolutely.
you something. He taught you how your list didn't work, and that is super legit and completely sweet information.
And interact with your opponent. Look him in the eye, shake his hand before the game. We always start the game up with a handshake and a good luck. A meaningful one. I don't want anyone to have bad luck. Start off with that, because you're going to build a more rapport with him, which means you're going to get more help from him. Even if it's some random guy at some random tournament. We love talking about the game afterwards. We love dissecting it.
Yep. So there you go. That's long story short, is that
Short for long.
I don't even remember what the fucking question was, but it was a great discussion, and that's all that matters.
All right, where we go next? Let's get another painting question, shall we?
Oh yeah.
Here we go. Dad Ark wants to know. He's about to paint 60 Cephalix Drudges.
I'm
Something I
sorry.
feel for him a lot because I have 40.
Yep.
What do I do to properly visually make them distinct but not completely destroy the union of the whole army to include base fronts? You know, he's never a huge fan of the bright green arcs next to bright red arcs next to bright yellow arcs.
I don't blame him. So that's a very challenging question. Once you pull base arcs out of the equation, generally the thing that distinguishes a unit best from another is color. I have so on the best thing that I have seen done from lists that use a lot of the same units is like on Doom Reavers. You tend to see it on Butcher 2 lists, and what they'll do is they will use different color swords.
Mm-hmm.
So they'll take those souls that are in the different color swords and put them in different colors. Okay, I'm going to memo out to all the Painting with Menoth John Brushheads. If you have 9 units of Doom Reavers and you have painted them all identically, stop watching my show.
Yeah, that's... Unless you have something crazy, like I put numbers on the back of my bases for my convenience, but if you put numbers for units on the front of your bases,
Yep.
all complaints are off because I can look and go Unit 1, Unit 2, Unit
Yep.
3. I know what's what. We're good.
Yep. And however, if you don't do that, first off, you're not going to have a good idea who the fuck your units are. Secondly, you're going to make your opponent's life a living hell. So do it.
And that is an occasional TO. If you can't explain to the TO very quickly how you and your opponent can tell your units apart, welcome to disqualified.
Yeah, I'll
land.
DQ
There'll be
you
no
on the
malice.
spot.
They'll be like, look, I'm sorry, we can't play a good game like this.
Yep. You have not afforded your opponent a level chance of beating you, and that's what this game is all about.
Yeah, triple so with the Bane Knight unit because they have Vengeance. And I've seen people try and trigger Vengeance on multiple units by interspersing them and not having you easily tell which is which. That's...
Yeah. Sassy Greyjoy brings up a good point here in the chat room. She says, I change around the main color for each of my units. And, that's a very challenging decision to make, to be very honest with you, because if you're a person who really values the hobby, like we do here on Painting with Menoth, John, we want you to have a unified-looking scheme for your troops, but in the same breath, we want you to have it be instantly recognizable. So glow color is a great way to do that.
Mm-hmm. Alternating your main, if you have 2 main colors, alternate them if you've got 2 units.
Yep.
So put the blue where the green is, or the green where the blue is, or
Yep.
what have you. I did that with my Kazi Eliminators.
I do that.
It actually looks pretty good. They still look uniform, but you can tell.
I do that a ton. There are pink sashes and there are sanguine sashes in my list. There are sanguine sashes and there are green sashes in my lists. Mm-hmm. And that's how I keep track. And then the other thing that I do is on my arc markers, right behind the arc markers, I will put a stripe. Not all the way up, just a half stripe, so that I can tell which is Unit 1 and Unit 2, because I use a lot of War Room to try to tell which is which.
Mm-hmm. And also, if you're doing like Storm Knights or anything that's got, or Menoth Knights, put a stripe on the armor, just somewhere where it looks kind of cool, where it looks kind of like, oh, these are, the gold stripe guys.
Elite guys.
You might see. Yeah, exactly.
Yep. This is the special unit. Yeah. That's a great suggestion.
With now, the Cephalix is actually a little harder because the Drudges don't have a lot of the same details.
There's so many of them.
The thought I come to, and since he's got 3 units of each, I assume, group them by heads. There are 3 different heads. Group all the same head together.
Yeah, take the units as they come from the box, mix and match them,
Match them
so that you end up with it.
Yep, because then the unit looks more unified because they all have the same helmet. You're like, oh, cool. It's not as cool variety, but when you got that many units, sometimes you have to take a hit for playability.
Yep.
If you can't, or do the loincloths different color? They have loincloths. You have different shades that are still visible from across the table. you know,
You know,
or the heads, or build them certain ways. I know you're probably already built and you're beyond that, but with them, they got all sorts of different weapons. Go like, all right, all the guys with the big, bladey swords are in one unit. All the guys
Yep.
with the buzzsaw hands are in another unit, and all the guys with, the grabby claws are the unit, and then the other hand is whatever. Who cares?
It's like so much in life, John, is that do unto others as you would have done unto you.
Yep.
Think about look at these models in front of you and go, how could I recognize them if someone did this to me? And would you be appreciative of that effort? And just do it that way. And it solves so many problems.
Put recognizable pieces of terrain on the bases. Like all the guys with the
What a
big
great
rock
idea.
on their base is our one unit. The guys with the rocks in the back of their bases are another unit, and the guys with no rocks at all. That's not the easiest way, but it doesn't make you change your paint scheme. It keeps it concise. You can do it with like rocks on one, tree stumps on whatever you have.
What a great idea.
Just go through that. Yeah.
So there you go, folks. There's a whole plethora of ideas. John, do we have another flippity bloop?
Another real quick one. Sure, I think we can do another real quick one.
I'm willing to go late. It doesn't matter. I don't give a shit tonight. I'm full of booze.
And you're not going anywhere first thing in the morning.
Turns out I'm not. I'm going to this. See this monitor behind me? That's as far as I'm going tomorrow.
Oh yeah. Well, I got to go to work not any earlier than normal, but
Yeah.
I'll be good. Barry Holmes asks Siren, in or out of tier?
Out. I think that Rich Brotman from Bear Machine has established the fully perfect Tyrone list, and the core of it is halberdiers with a Thane, a Houseguard Thane, along with Sentinels prontoing a Banshee, and the battle group with Tyrone is a what the hell's their character, Jack? God dang it,
Which one?
Imperatus.
You're Imperatus?
Imperatus with a couple of Mage Hunter assassins and a Artificer. So the idea behind this list is the Artificer, along with Blade Shield, gives you an defense 15, 17, 19, 21 on a hill. It's a lot like the similar logic behind Fire Mountain, as far as your defense multipliers, and then you've got good solid armor to build up on it, and Storm Ragered Mage Hunter assassins will one-shot a Troll Beast, and it's wonderful. You've got this incredible Halberdier mini feeding on the same turn as your feet, and they hit so fucking hard. And they get out of the way of the Sentinels if they need to, and you continue to wash, rinse, repeat for about 3 waves. And Tyrone, long dick style.
Yeah, and this theme list, since I'm not terribly familiar with it,
It
the
doesn't
actual fuck.
it doesn't actually exist, does it? Because there's some
No.
there's some models in there that have not even been spoiled yet.
No, it's House Guard units, Mage Hunter Infiltrators, Stormfall Archers, Arcanists, Ghost Snipers, House Guard Solos, Solus Escorts, Narn, and Silas. Like, I don't even get this list. Like,
It's a little over
I
the map.
understand theme, and he's got this sort of weird, combo theme. But this, you cannot take all the stuff you want in there. You can't take Magisters, who are great with Storm Rager. You can't take the Pain Knight, who's great with Storm Rager. In fact, Narn is the only Storm Rager target of note,
Yeah.
aside from
Can you
Thyron
take
himself.
Can you take assassins?
Nope.
Yeah, fuck that list. The second you can't take a Mage Hunter assassin in a Tyrone list, you're doing it wrong.
Yeah. So yeah, definitely out of theme. In theme only if you have to for the particular tournament.
Yep. So, what else we got for questions, John?
Oh, we still have a bunch.
Okay, hang on for
Let's
just a second. Can you vamp for about 5 minutes while I go cut a whiz?
All right, I'll actually do my quick movie review of the movie that we didn't both see this week.
And then let's come back. All right, sounds
Absolutely.
good. Have at it.
All right, so when my Redskins were tied 13-13 with the Jets, I popped in a movie because I don't like to watch football anymore because I got better things to do. And I was eating lunch anyway. So I watched Navy SEALs. starring Charlie Sheen and Michael Biehn and a whole bunch of that guy. Like, oh, I recognize that guy. I recognize that guy. Bill Paxton, Rick Rossovich from Top Gun, which is pretty much the only thing he's been in otherwise of note. Boy, this movie is, God, I like the movie. It's fun to watch, but it is not a good movie. It actually is cool that it doesn't like totally glorify the military. I mean, spoiler alert for a movie that's fucking 20 years old, 25 years old. Jesus Christ, that movie's old enough to drink. A lot of the characters die. In fact, of the whole SEAL team, only like 4 of them survive. So guys are gonna die a horrible death. They don't really glorify violence so much. Though all the characters, only 2 of the characters get any kind of real backstory or character or anything, and it's not even Charlie Sheen isn't even one of them. He is your standard hothead. The rest of the guys are characters. Michael Biehn gets a little bit of backstory. Dennis Haysbert, who goes on to do the unit and the president in 24, also gets a little bit of backstory, but not much. And one of those guys dies. They don't do a lot of characters. The story is kind of thin. The bad guy is weak as hell. I mean, like, this guy's recurring. I don't even fucking care about this guy. It's good for some cool action. It's the epitome of a, hey, I'm going to paint and I want an action movie in the background. Throw it in, watch it. That being said, I got it for like $3 on Blu-ray, so I'm not going to argue.
You can't argue with that.
It is a bit of a good time. 2.5 shots of Kraken. It's not amazing, but there's some amusement to be had with it.
Well, there you go. I appreciate you filling in there, John. I put you on the Spencer cam before I went to cut a whiz.
I saw.
And I hope that everyone enjoys the Spencer cam. It was trivial to come up with. So I think that it gives our co-host, who really does, John, I can't thank you enough for all that you do for the show, to be very honest. You're an amazing part of the show, and I hope that everyone can get to War Machine Weekend so that you can see John and I in action together as a team. We're a team across the internets, but together we're gonna plus it up. Literally, we could take down a Titan. I think we could.
Absolutely.
We'd cut it right at the nape. We'd get it in there, and we'd take down a Titan together.
Oh,
so
I was thinking of a Games Workshop Titan. We'll take one of those down too.
Yeah, we'd take one of. I'd shoot it right through its like void shields or whatever it's got. I don't even know.
Bam! Well played, sir.
Yeah,
They do have void shields.
Yeah, I see what I did there, and I watched mini wargamings. I don't know much about the game, but I'm pretty sure a 5+ to armor save is pretty fucking bad. So, there you go. Man, drank a lot tonight. Kind of knew this was going to happen, but let's answer some more questions. Shit, I got the whole night ahead of me.
All right. Well, the next one is from Kevin Bashford, a.k.a. Dowdart.
That
He's
guy.
He's asking a question that we actually answered already.
Oh.
He said, will you be Skype/Twitch/Periscoping War Machine Weekend for those unworthy to be in his presence? We're going to try.
Well, we're going to do the best we can. I mean, we're going to be there. We are... And I'm going to try and get my hands on some internets. I'm going to get the biggest tube I can get a hold of and shove Painting with Mouth John down that tube and hope that everybody can catch up. On what is it? Friday night, we have the Painting with Mouth John show. And so we've got the LCQ. I'm bringing the Fire Mountain and I'm bringing the Mad Rack 2. I'm not one of these kind of guys that copies lists off the internet. I'm not going to play the Mad Rack 2 that you saw played at the WTC. I'm going to be playing the Mad Rack 2 I love, which is the one that the Augusta meta taught me, and that is the theme list. So it's super fun. I'm playing 2 units of Tuffalos because Tuffalos are fucking stupid. And they are super legit and also super sweet. And completely legit, and so we're gonna bring that on home. I'm gonna play it until I'm bored, and then I'm gonna drop. I don't care if I'm like 4-0. I'm gonna drop because I'm bored. Whatever it takes. And Fire Mountain is because it's super sweet. So, we're gonna do the best job we can, and we're gonna try to bring you the casual fun side of War Machine Weekend, because we're in 2016. I promise you, mark it right now. There's going to be a hardcore casual track at War Machine Weekend. It's going to have nothing to do with Masters. It's going to have nothing to do with Iron Gauntlet. It ain't going to have a goddamn thing to do with the Invitational. But we are going to be playing some hardcore casual shit. And one of the next major contests that we do here on the show is going to be Hardcore Casual Pack number 2. The first one was a huge success, and I've got a box of terrain back here from Games and Gears. That is going to be the prize for Hardcore Casual Pack number 2. So stay tuned. We're not ready for it yet, but we're going to get there. So what do you got for me, John?
All right. Well, next one.
Flippity-fucking-blue.
Let's skip around a little bit.
Yep.
There's no way to say this one that's not going to sound somewhat awkward, so I'm just going to go straight in and read it directly.
Do it.
Scott Kidwell starts off asking, why is it that I'm going to have to catch up with the show after it airs? Family obligations and all.
Yeah.
Oh, and why, as the president of War Machine and Hordes, hasn't the spell superiority been changed to white man's burden? Tongue emoticon. As I said, there's no way to not make that sound awkward.
So a little bit of background. Scotty and I go back about as far as it goes. Scott Kidwell is from when I knew him, he was back in the Boise area, and Scott and Jen Ikuda were together for a while, and Scott is an electrician and one of my favorite people in all of the War Machine and Hordes community. He is a wonderful guy. He does it right. He puts his family first, and then the game is second, and that's how we love it here on Painting with Menoth, John. And Scotty, why do you have to watch the next day? It's because you got your priorities straight, baby. You're taking care of business. You're doing it right. I know things have been not so easy for you in the last few years, and we're sending out the positivity vibes at you. That right here. Let's raise it up for Scotty.
Ron
For Scott Kidwell. Things haven't been easy for Scotty, and but he's kicking ass and taking names now, and got nothing but green lights ahead, and we know that's coming for you, Scott, and so that you're doing it right. Now, as for the rest of the question, I forgot what it was, and that's okay.
Indeed.
Yep. Nothing would be more perfect.
So the next two are both streaming related.
Yep.
Dowdark asks again, is streaming games cost effective in our current meta of the game? And is the meta big enough to consider tournament streaming and esport?
Wow, that's a really good question. We don't expect such great questions from Dowdark, but we get them anyway. So the first question was, is it cost effective to stream? And am I summarizing that correctly, John?
Yep.
Well, it's a good question. Depends on how good at marketing you are.
I would say no, probably not cost effective, unless you count the not entirely tangible bonuses you get.
There's a couple. There are some ways to monetize this particular hobby, and when I speak hobby, I'm talking about doing what we do here with live streaming and hobby live streaming. And pretty much the only way I see that you can successfully monetize this particular hobby and make it pay for itself is Patreon. And I think you had to be involved in it about 6 to 12 months ago.
Mm-hmm. It's gonna be a little harder now.
It's gonna be hard now, and it's gonna be increasingly hard as we go forward. And the reason that I say that is that there are a finite number of people who have it within their heart to support the people that go through the trouble we go through each week to provide them with content. Now, I love the people who have that within their heart because they're the whole reason this particular show continues to happen. If we did not have the Patreon supporters that we have, and if I had not learned from the D6 generation at the time that I had, we wouldn't have done this. And frankly, I probably would have folded the show because as fun as it is to talk to you, John, it's way more fun to talk to you each week when it means what it means now.
Yep.
But so Dowdark, I think that you provide a superior product, and that I think is what will be your linchpin. Folks, Advanced Maneuvers does the best post-production in the business. This side of Wargamer Girl and Advanced Maneuvers
And they
provides
do it every week.
Every week, and the content of Advanced Maneuvers is actually more instructional than what Wargamer Girl brings to the party. She's amazing. I love Miranda. She is a wonderful human being. Don't get me wrong. And the level of post-production she brings to the party is astounding. That being said, Dowdark and Advanced Maneuvers brings literally the same level of post-production, but also provide a higher level of content quality related to the tactical aspects of this game. So, how do you monetize it? Advanced Maneuvers, the first thing you do is you put your damn show on the MJN. And secondly, you get a Patreon account.
Mm-hmm.
But I have been I've been more successful than my wildest possible dreams on bringing this show to the populace in a way that they are willing to support. And the way I do that is through positivity. Yeah, I really believe, John, that the reason that our show is what it is because we continually point the bright light of positivity on the aspects of this game and other games that we love, and try to provide our listeners with an alternative that is consistently positive, consistently focusing in on enjoyment of hobbies, and not talking down to things.
No.
So I get on my soapbox when I get drunk. So shit. Flippity bloop.
All right. Next one is from Rich Brotman from Beer Machine.
I love that guy.
This is one we're less going to answer, and we're going to point you to them. He wants to know, now that the Beer Machine live stream has a new audio equipment with 100% less echo, what matchups would you like to see? Now, you need to go over to facebook.com, find Beer Machine. That are hard to find. Jump on their Facebook page, and you tell them what you want to see. And you tell them you're telling them because I told you to tell them.
That's right. Beer Machine 716 is their Facebook page. And it's 716 because it's 716 area code because of Buffalo, New York.
There you go.
And so, John, I want you to answer this one first. What matchup would you like to see Beer Machine take on next?
You see, that's not really fair because I don't have the free time to watch videos anymore.
Okay, that's okay. But if you had the time, let's play the theoretical game here.
The theoretical game, I would love to see a Thyron, because Rich is a ret guy, versus maybe like a Xerxes 2. That's what I'd like to see, because that's when you could run into.
So easy to pull off because Rich is a dyed-in-the-wool ret guy, and JP is a dyed-in-the-wool Scorn guy who has Xerxes 2. So I know that this is something they can pull off. I honestly would love to see them. I know that Rich has some Fire Frogs. So I know I would love to see Fire Mountain. I would love to see Rich play Fire Mountain because he's a troll player.
Mm-hmm.
And I would love to see him play into Body and Soul. And the reason I would love to see this happen is because I think that it is an incredibly strong game for Fire Mountain. where I think that they can really show off how it can go up against a really good list. And so we're, as troll players, we're always looking for Crix matchups. I think that while Body and Soul is probably going to fall by the wayside because Crix players have no imagination, I think it would really show how Fire Mountain can play against Crix. I don't give a actually, to be honest, play Fire Mountain against Crix, and I'd be happy with that matchup. Pick any caster you want, pick any list you want, and show what trolls can do without playing that fucking Runes of War list against Crix. Boom.
There you go.
Flippity fucking bloop.
All right. This is another one from Brett Painter. He says, "Why don't you like my posts in the War Machine of Hordes Facebook group? War Machine of Hordes painting Facebook group."
Why don't I like them? Because I'm not fucking Professor Lust. I don't like everything that exists. I barely look at that group, but they're super awesome, and I appreciate the support.
I do look at them a lot, but I don't always think about liking everything. Facebook's kind of a mixed bag for me right now. I try to keep up on it, but I'm not as up as I'd like.
So, long story short, Brett Painter is part of the Geek Garage, and if you don't know what Geek Garage is, learn what Geek Garage is. All you have to do is use Google. You'll find them. They're super amazing, and Brett Painter is one of their best painters. Him and you're gonna see a bunch of different stuff. A lot of the Geek Garage came from the Utah meta, and man, I miss those guys. Jesus, I miss Utah. I love it here in Wisconsin and all that kind of stuff, but there are some really wonderful painters in Utah. Get out there and experience it, and like Brett's stuff, because apparently he doesn't think enough people like him. Fucking insecure bastard.
All right. Well, we got 3 more, but only 2 more. I think we need to do tonight. We
Let's
can
do
save the
2
other
more
one for next time.
Yeah, we're gonna run late. Fuck it.
All right. So this one is actually from the Department of Making Things Pretty.
She's one of my favorites, by the way.
From Michelle Blastenbury.
Love that gal. She's gonna be a part of the super legit and totally sweet the hobby lounge at War Machine Weekend.
That's exactly what she's talking about. It says the Department of Making Things Pretty will be available Friday and Saturday for consultation. Feel free to drop by and pick my brains for feedback, tips, and tricks. There will also be a few hobby classes at War Machine Weekend, so check out the site. We're teaching the blood, pus, guts, and gore class. How does that make things pretty? It's guaranteed to be a bloody good time. Oh, and apparently it's pronounced, I would say Blastenbry, not Bray, like not Brie, like the cheese. But everyone gets that wrong.
You know what? Michelle is an amazing painter. I've seen some of her stuff. Ladies and gentlemen, you are on your way to learning something really legit by attending her classes. Folks, we've had this conversation going around on the Facebooks. There's those of us who are putting on shows as a part of the Hobby Lounge have been a part of sort of an in-group chat, if you will. Folks, if you want to learn about the hobby, get up to the Hobby Lounge. I'm going to tell you that right now. This is super sweet, totally legit, and super awesome. I'm going to throw in super awesome for no additional dollars.
And super awesome.
I know, right? You can't fucking beat that. I mean,
Nope.
You could, but it would be
You need a
terrible.
stick.
Yeah, you
Large
need
stick.
Oh, fucking big ass stick. Anyway, so get up there. Michelle's amazing. We're going to be having also with us Tadgo. Tadgo is going to be up there doing the airbrushing. He'll airbrush your boobs if you need him. And not only that, there'll be Chris Suri, Suri, who I always mispronounce his last name. You could ask him how to pronounce his last name.
And Fleet Medic will be there with his photo taking
Yes.
class, showing you how to take good photos. and
Yes.
play with Lightroom.
He will totally be there, showing you how not to suck at taking pictures of your shit.
Like
And yes, so guys, literally, the Hobby Lounge is in a new place. Major Tusk has taken this to a whole new level, and he's cranked it up to 11. Then he broke the fucking knob off. We don't even know John. Literally, we don't know what level this particular Hobby Lounge is going to be at. Could be at 4,000. Could be at 9,000. Could be
over 9,000.
Could be over 9,000. In fact, I'm willing to bet that it is over 9,000 right now. I have to think about that for a second. I have to think about that for a second. We got to step back. I have to accept all of its majesty. I'm a little verklempt. I have to be honest with you. I'm a little verklempt.
Good word.
If I had a tape, well, wait, I do have a tape measure. Hang on. I want to show you how erect my tape measure is. Right there. That's a full 17 inches. Right there. You can't argue with that.
Much like this pen, that Hobby Lounge is going to be the bomb.
Absolutely. You can't argue with that bomb. Ladies and gentlemen, that's a Maryland bomb. And you're not going to do better than a Maryland bomb. So get to the Hobby Lounge at War Machine Weekend. If you're not there, you're not there. And we don't blame you. There's other things to do. But if you're at War Machine Weekend, it's the only thing to do. So get over there and we'll shake your hand. And if you're an Inner Circle crony, we'll have a bottle opener for you or some shit. So there you go.
And I'm going to give out free high fives. We're bringing the high five back.
Oh, shut the fuck up.
High five.
All right.
Bringing it back. Be an Eagles fan. We're bringing it back locally. We're bringing it back everywhere. The high five.
Nice. High five. Do we have any more questions?
We got one more quick one I'd like to do today.
Let's do it.
From Chris Connell. He said, "What advice would you give to someone playing in a tournament?"
In their first tournament?
Yeah.
Okay. The first tournament, you're going to your first tournament. The best advice I can give you is that the chances are very low that you will win many games. Okay? This is a game that requires a very high learning curve. So, the best advice I can give you is have fun.
Damn it, you stole my advice.
Make sure you pick a list that makes you happy. Mm-hmm. More than you think that it makes you competitive. Make it happy. In the LCQ at War Machine Weekend, I have no illusions whatsoever that I'm going to win that and earn my way to the Invitational. I have not a fucking chance in hell. But I will tell you that I'm going to have fun. And I will tell you how I'm going to have fun. I'm going to dress as Bob Ross the whole fucking time. I'm going to have a big blue-ass shirt with a huge collar. And I'm going to wear a big brown fucking wig. And I'm going to laugh my ass off as I hide behind happy little trees. Or that I happen to... I made it. There are no mistakes at my game. There's only happy accidents. I'm going to have a happy accident every now and again. Promise that's going to happen. When I don't pop my feet with Jarl, that'll be a happy accident. It won't end well, but it will be a happy accident. But, it's a matter of, this is a goddamn game. This is little toy soldiers on a 4x4 table. It's not serious business.
It's not.
Not
the
even
fate of the free world does not rest upon the
no. 10 out of 10 times, Barack Obama is not having a conversation about fucking croak raiders in the White House. It's not happening. It's not happening. We're not talking about how the Haley nerf affected Israel. Because you know how much it affected Israel? Not a fucking bit. Not even a little.
Not even the tiniest skosh.
No, not even a bagel's worth. And ladies and gentlemen, it's a goddamn game. And that is why I highly go to events. Have fun. Bring the favoriteest thing that makes you happy. And if that means bringing Runes of War, bring it.
Bring it.
Who cares?
Bring it, Haley, too. Bring it.
Bring it.
Doesn't matter what you bring.
No.
Bring what you want to play. Don't let other people tell you what to play. You play what you want, You have fun doing it, and they'll take your cues. They'll be like, "That guy's having fun. Who cares?"
Yeah, and ham it up a little. Have some fun. Role play that shit. Oh, look, there's a one-handed pole dancer heading for the business. We're gonna throw that time bomb out there. Holy shit, let's see what happens. Have fun.
Yep.
I didn't discover how amazing Zombicide was until I played it as a role-playing game. And ladies and gentlemen, just if it's your first one, go ahead and have a good time. I don't care what system. I don't care if you played 20 years of 40K ahead of this. This is War Machine, bitches. It's a whole different world. Go ahead and
It's
have
not 40K
fun.
at all. It's
on.
different. It's not serious. Like some of the guys take it a little serious, but they're still at the end of the day, it's just a normal game. You just happen to have a time limit. Bring
Yeah.
some lists you're comfortable with, have a good time. Going, I'm not gonna do great. Let me learn some stuff.
Yeah. I mean, I'm playing Fire Mountain, which I think is a legitimately good list, but more than anything else, that list makes me happy.
Yep.
I've-
I'm playing Grail because he makes me happy.
Yeah. And just that's the best advice I can ever give to anybody going to their first tournament is play the list that makes you happy. The chances are you're not going to win with it. Who fucking cares? If you come out at the end of the day going, "God damn, I won one game out of 4, but that one game I had that guy and I zapped him. I gave him the business." And that's all that matters. Or if you won 0-5, who cares?
A couple years ago, at the second day of the American Team Championship, I played against Brian White. I lost, and it was the funnest game I played all day.
Brian White is the definition of a good opponent to lose to.
He's great.
Oh my God, he's
There's
such a
so
nice
many
guy.
guys like that, and
Oh.
you're gonna find all these guys. You're gonna get friends, people you talk with, just by going to a tournament and hanging out. I talk with Walter Langendorf occasionally because we went to
Yeah.
a tournament, we hung out, we chatted. It's all good.
Walter's amazing. Jason Flanzer. I went to Kingdom Con and I met him in the first round. It's the first time Jason and I ever had the opportunity to play on the same table. What a gentleman. He played Protectorate with Vindictus, and I was playing, I don't know, I don't even remember what I was playing. Who cares? But he was a complete gentleman. He taught me things. He was in control of the game the whole time. Let's not even have an illusion about me having any kind of a chance. But Jason Flanzer, as far as I'm concerned, is fine a gentleman to play a game against. Jason Watt, another gentleman. All these big names that you hear are. I was at the second Lock and Load, and Jason invited me over to sit and have a beer with him, and it was just the nicest time. These are
like-
they pull their pants on one leg at a time. Just have fun.
Yep, just like everyone else. Like, they're just dudes. I mean, they just have to be a little better at this game than you are.
Yeah.
I have not met any of the big name players who haven't been an absolute great guy to hang out with.
Yep. Keith Christensen, another wonderful human being. I mean, just a
JVM,
genuinely good guy.
Chuck,
Oh
they're-
my
they're
God.
all great guys.
Chuck. Jesus, don't even get me started on Chuck. Chuck is, man, I wish I lived closer to Chuck. He will take you under his wing and will show you interesting things about stuff you didn't even know about. And he is such a good guy. JVM, a prince of a fella. I played a game with him where he was playing Lilith 3 and he housed me hard. It turns out he's better at this game than I am, but always a gentleman. And that's of that group of folks. Never ever be afraid to either ask them for a game or to be expected to play a game. I got to know Will Pagani because of a game that I had where he was teaching Keith Christensen how to play Circle. And holy shit, did I get my stuff pushed in. Because you've got Will and Keith against you. But I had fun. I laughed it up, and they were nice enough to ask. They thought enough about me to ask me to play. And that meant that they thought I was a decent guy and that I would provide a good challenge, but someone that they could have fun at least teaching against.
Mm-hmm.
That's a great compliment.
And you're gonna find 99% of the players in this game are like that.
Yep. No, Tadgo, Chuck is not a horrible person. He's an amazing person.
He's amazing.
He
He's
showed me
great.
his belly enough times. He's an amazing person. What do we got left, John?
Well, the last one I'm gonna save for next week because I think it might be something I want to spend a little more time on.
That's fine. It's 8:50 at night.
Yeah, we still have to talk about that movie I made you watch. This
That
time with
fucking movie.
100% less modem crashes, I guarantee.
Do we want to do that still, John?
Oh yeah, let's get
Okay.
it out of the way.
Showdown in motherfucking Little Tokyo.
Oh God.
So let's talk about this for a second and a half. So here's the plot twist. Brandon Lee, who's the son of Bruce Lee, who I have drank alcohol in the funeral parlor that his old man was buried in, is ostensibly the rookie kind of guy that is like he's got the book smarts but not necessarily the street smarts. And Dolph Lundgren, who is the I can't keep a partner because I'm too much of a against the rules kind of a guy. And it features the worst sex scene in all of recorded history.
I'm gonna let you pass on that one. Yeah, it was uncomfortable as hell.
Back
It was
back room
awkward.
back room casting couch has better sex scenes than Showdown in Little Tokyo.
When it ends with a katana slicing a woman's head off, that's an awkward sex scene.
You know, that's fucked up. You know, that's just bad.
This movie is rated R, and it earns its R with a little bit of weird shit. Now, I loved this movie when I was younger. It doesn't quite hold up. I still enjoy it, but I enjoy it for it is basically like an 80s buddy cop action exploitation film. Let's be
Absolutely.
honest.
You have hit the nail on the head. I'm going to hold the disc in front of my face so that people can see this shit. One of
And-
these
and
two
we-
movies is better than the other.
Yes, it's Bloodsport
Yes,
somehow.
without question. They found
Now,
the perfect pairing.
We did argue about this. We were going to argue about this. That I thought that Brandon Lee was overall better than Dolph Lundgren in this. I thought that
As an
Brandon Lee
actor?
was I thought Brandon Lee's acting was more genuine and better acting.
Wow, that's king shit of the dung heap if I've ever heard it.
And to be fair, I am a bit of a Brandon Lee fan. I mean, I've seen his movie Rapid Fire, which I do like very much. The Crow I reviewed a couple weeks ago. I just felt like there's a couple scenes where I saw it. I'm like, he's really taken this a bit more seriously at some points than Dolph Lundgren. And I love me some Dolph Lundgren. I still enjoy the Dolph Lundgren Punisher movie. He's one of the highlights of the earlier Expendables movies.
Oh, I agree. I love him in the Expendables. He's red hot trash in this movie.
And did I tell you about did we get out the line that was changed in this movie last time?
You might have, but refresh my memory.
So there's a scene where they're about to get attacked by enemies at Dolph Lundgren's home away from home. Funny thing, Dolph Lundgren's the one with a sus with Japanese culture
Yeah.
because he grew up in Japan, and then Brandon Lee's character is not. He's just a white boy, basically a white guy from L.A. So that's sort of the juxtaposition of those two guys. So they're at his very Japanese-styled house, and they had a sex scene with Tia Carrera and Dolph Lundgren and
That
all
was
that stuff.
Terrible.
Yeah, it was not bueno, but let's be honest. How many sex scenes in the 80s were bueno?
But it was Tia Carrera.
I know.
All right, that's fine. Moving right along.
But going on where he literally says, and the movie line as it stands right now, if you watch the movie, is, "You have the biggest penis ever seen on a man."
Yes.
And that's not the original line, because I remember the original line. I've confirmed the internet. The original line is that you have the biggest penis ever seen on a white guy. And that line is actually somewhat awkward, but a better line than the other one, which is just downright creepy as fuck.
The references to Dolph Lundgren's penis by Brandon Lee throughout the course of the movie is disturbing on a huge level.
Yeah, it's so to the bright side of this movie. The dark side being the acting's not all great. The story's kind of linear. Let's be honest, but the action scenes are pretty much top notch.
Walk me through how a brewery explodes like that.
Oh my God, beer, man! Don't you know beer? It's
No,
flammable.
no,
Plus,
beer
they've
is
got
not.
drugs in it. Drugs,
No.
flammable.
No, 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 no.
I didn't say realistic. I said top notch.
No, is that brewery does not explode like that. No beer in the universe explodes like that. Not even fucking Miller Genuine Draft, and it wants to.
Especially not Miller Genuine Draft. It's criminal beer.
It's the worst beer ever.
Let's be honest. That's not one of the things you think about watching the movie. Honestly, that last scene has some good parts, and actually, the thing I like about it is to do a weird thing that occurred to me while I was watching it. The two good guys have actual M16 rifles, and they're killing all the mooks like they have rifles, and the mooks have submachine guns because it's a slightly longer range battle. I'm like, that's actually a little piece of realism in a movie that's not really known for its realism.
No.
Hence the earlier scene when he breaks Tia Carrera out of the house. He flips the car over by himself, Dolph Lundgren, because he can flip over cars.
He
It's
can
okay, I
he can pick
do
that shit up. Never mind.
And then he shoots it in the bottom, and it explodes.
Because
Yeah, that's what cars
MythBusters
do.
MythBusters
old
taught
car.
us that's
It was-
exactly what happens.
It was a classic car.
You know, John, I have to
Oh.
mention the fact that I think I like this new camera arrangement. It really catches my good side.
Yes, it does. So, Shonolo Tokyo, full of horrible action cliche lines, some really good action scenes. The fight at the nightclub is actually, I think, pretty legit. One or two tiny awkward points, some good action. I'm gonna give it 2.5 shots of Kraken.
I'm gonna
What you
give it
got?
I'm gonna give it a full 3 shots.
That's fair.
Only
That's fair.
because
You didn't like it as much as me because I saw it when I was like 13 or some such shit.
yeah,
Okay, it actually mathematically could have been 13. I would have had to have been 15. That's probably worse.
it has its moments. I'll be very honest with you.
When she's sitting there and let's call it out now. I hate the 80s for how fucking rapey it is.
Oh my God,
I
the
can't,
80s is
I
the
don't know how this
rapiest.
was ever okay. And it does make the villain that much more satisfying when his ass is killed at the end because he was downright an evil motherfucker.
All he did was rape and sell drugs. That's all he did.
He was evil. He was menacing. It was I'm gonna butcher his name because I'm drunk. Kari Higuri Tagawa or whatever his name is.
Sure.
Something like that.
Insert Japanese name here.
Shang Tsung. Shang Tsung plays the bad guy. He was great as the bad guy. He does it well. You're very happy when he's killed. But my favorite line is after he rescues Tia Carrera, he leaves her in a room, like, we're gonna go kick some ass and stuff. Here's a shotgun. Shoot anyone you see. Or anyone you hear. She's like, what if it's you? She's like, you won't hear me coming.
Yeah, great line.
And literally, when they show back up, him and his partner are in the fucking place, and she didn't even hear him.
Nope, not even remotely.
And then, in addition to that, they double end the joke. After the slightly awkward section between the two of them, she said she heard him coming that time.
Yeah.
So, full level on the joke. 2.5 to 3 shots of Kraken. I wouldn't suggest necessarily buying it, having rewatched it recently, if it didn't also come with Bloodsport, which is...
But if you get Bloodsport with it, totally
you get
worth it.
Bloodsport with it. It changes the entire game because Bloodsport, also a very good and fun movie to watch.
Bloodsport might be the ultimate Van Damme movie. Bloodsport's amazing. So we'll advertise. We'll do Bloodsport on another show. But
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of John Spencer, we are going to do, I guess, I'm going to try and find a projector. I'll be very honest with this. I'm going to try and make this as amazing as possible. War Machine Weekend, Turkish Star Wars. And John
I got a
wants to.
copy right here.
Yeah,
I'll make sure I figure out what format it is so we can play it on whatever you manage to get your hands on.
I will find a way to make it happen. I
And I'll
don't.
watch it again, working into it, just so I'm familiar with the jokes, so I can have some material ready.
I don't have a great way to do it just now, but I'll figure it out. But
If not, we'll just watch it on the screen, and people will see it, and we'll rotate in, and people will make jokes. It'll be a good time.
at the very least, this is going to be a thing for Painting with Mouth, John. It's a thing. I'm not going to guarantee anything more than that. But on behalf of, we're at the end of the show, John. God damn it.
Yeah, we definitely are, because it's getting perilously close to my bedtime.
Yeah, all of us have to sleep, so I'm gonna put on the music. Oh, there it is. Oh yeah. Fuck. This just happened. I wouldn't let your kids listen to any of this shit. Be honest with you.
And I would not let your kids watch Showdown in Little Tokyo.
No. I would let your kids buy Guild Ball, and I would let your kids buy stuff from Discount Games Incorporated and Greenleaf Terrain and Games and Gears and KR Multicase. There was a question about KR Multicase. Buy the Kaiser 2. Buy the Backpack 3, I think, would fit. Backpack 2 for sure. Get over there. Buy their shit. They sponsor the show. You should sponsor the show. www.patreon.com/MenOffJohn. $5 will get you a goddamn bottle opener. $2 will get you a sticker. Would you rather have a bottle opener than a sticker? I mean, let's be honest. So there you go. It's a thing, and we'll be back next week.
We'll be less drunk next week.
I'm fucking Menoff, John. That's John Spencer. He's less drunk than I am. It's a thing. There you go. Good night. Don't throw up in your bed. Good night. I love this fucking show. I don't know how to edit this.